And then now leading on to the Indian exposure to the Australian Army and the New Zealand Army, and the role of Indian Army or military of different sizes and different forms played in the Gallipoli campaign.
Well, remember, the force that invaded Gallipoli was an empire force. There was a French force at Cape Helles, there was a British force at Cape Helles, and some of it was at ANZAC. At ANZAC, which is halfway up the peninsula on the left-hand side, a force of Australians and New Zealanders landed on the 25th of April. But included in that Australian-New Zealand Army Corps was a force of Indian mountain gunners.
Mm-hmm.
The Indian Army, of course, fought often on the northwest frontier of India, mountainous country, and it had developed a special expertise in mountain artillery, light guns carried on mules and operated by Indian gunners commanded by British officers. One of those brigades, that's 2 batteries, a dozen or so guns, was part of the Australian-New Zealand Army Corps. And those guns were critical. They landed on the 25th of April alongside the Australians and New Zealanders. They were posted near the front line and fired at the front line against the Turkish counterattacks that developed from the afternoon of the first day.
Wow.
So right from the beginning of the campaign, Indian gunners and mule drivers were there alongside ANZACs. So that relationship, it actually began a bit earlier than that too, because they'd been in Egypt together and they'd seen each other in Egypt and taken an interest, but not a very close interest because they weren't close, they were physically close. They'd been together in the convoy that was assembled in the harbour at Lemnos on the way over, and Australians would visit the ships, the transports on which the Indian gunners were being carried, and they would talk about the mules and they would see them. And so there was a curiosity already, but from the 25th of April, that curiosity turned into a comradeship because they served together. The Indian artillery observers were in the front line with the ANZACs. The front line was so close to the artillery positions that the frontline soldiers could see and hear the guns going off. So there's a very close relationship developed with the Indian gunners right the way through the campaign.